Hello and welcome to the Mixtape podcast, where every week I take a deep dive into my guests' musical influences and inspirations by asking them to make up an imaginary mixtape. They'll have 6 track choices and they'll have to pick from categories including their favourite cover version, a song they wish they could play to their 18-year-old selves, a song for a romantic interest, and a song they sing in the car or the shower. If you're enjoying these episodes, then please feel free to go to the top of the page, rate the podcast 5 stars, or give us a follow on social media at the Mixtape Podcast and Radio Show. And you can discover over 100 archive episodes just by visiting themixtapepodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hello and welcome to this mixtape for KCR 102.5 and the mixtapepodcast.com. Joining me today, it is an absolute pleasure to be chatting to Samantha Fish. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's a little bit early here in Perth, but that's okay. It's all good. So your new album, Paper Doll, is out April the 25th. That's available through samanthafish.com, all the usual streaming platforms and outlets. First of all, Samantha, you recorded the album with your touring band. Was that sort of a out of necessity sort of thing because you were on tour at the time when you were recording, or were you trying to bring some of your sort of live energy that your shows are known for to the album?
The truth is, like, the answer is right in the middle. It was absolutely like we definitely needed to do it out of necessity, but also the band is so great that it was like the producer, before we even started talking about the schedule, was saying that we had to do it with my live band because he came and saw a show and he was really enthusiastic about capturing what we do live in a studio setting. So before the schedule was so hectic and it was like, there's no other way but this way, it was also like decided prior to that.
Yeah. That was a nice lead-in to my next question, which was about the producer for the album. And I wanted to ask you, like, when you're choosing producers to work with on a record, do you write the songs and then think, okay, who's going to fit these songs best as a producer? Or do you have a sort of a sound or a sort of a vibe in mind and then you choose a producer like from that?
I think it's more about the sound and the vibe and the concept as a whole. And the songs are reflections of my feelings and a snapshot of who I am in the moment when I'm writing them. But I definitely try to create, and I talked about this a lot with the Death Wish stuff with Jesse, about creating a North Star that you could just like always look to and return to throughout the creative process and go, okay, does this fit the initial concept of what I want to do, how I want to present this, how I want this to come across? And so everything fits into this concept, but it's really not hard because generally my concepts are pretty close to who I am in the moment. I'm not doing something that's super far off that I don't fit, that I feel like I have to really work hard to fit things into. It's still pretty organic and true to who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Going back to your live performance and versus recording, just quickly, what I often do is with my podcast patrons is I put the option out there for people to submit a question to my guests. And today I've got a question from Zoe. She's a performer herself. She's a singer in a blues funk band here in Perth. And her question is, I love performing live. It's my passion in front of an audience. And since we've started recording, I find it difficult to harness the same energy and vocal performance in the studio. Do you have any tips or tricks to get that?
Time. It just takes time. I've talked about this a lot on this rollout to the record because it took me years to feel as comfortable in the studio as I do on the stage. And I think it's just because when you're on stage, you're interacting with an audience, you're dealing with all these other factors to where you're not as in your head about how it feels. You're just in the moment. So it's hard to transition from the stage to the studio and try to get that same feeling. And for years, I felt like my studio performances were like strained and tight and I didn't have the freedom and the flexibility that I did on stage and like the power even. I think really it just takes time. You just have to get to know your voice in a way to where you understand how things are supposed to feel. And then just warming up is a big deal. I try to create an environment, maybe, I turn off the lights in the room. You got to work with supportive people who don't make you feel pressured and stressed. We can get your headphone mix right, make sure the levels are exciting to where it feels exciting like it does on stage. I try all kinds of different tricks. Sometimes pulling an ear off in the room, like that helps. Breathe, try to relax. I know that sounds like that's really an impossible thing to do when you're tense and you're stressing about your performance, but that's really the key to it, is figuring out how to breathe and just try to find a way to connect to who you are on the stage into the studio. And it's tough. It takes time.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice. Thanks for that question, Zoe. Appreciate that. Also, Samantha, I was browsing your website for the pre-orders of the new album. I saw 2 of the vinyl variants are already sold out. There's one vinyl variant left, I think the smoke vinyl. Are you a big vinyl collector yourself? Have you got a big vinyl collection, or?
I've got a reasonable vinyl collection. I know some people who have a big collection. I think I have a reasonable one. I do. When I go on the road, I'll go into record shops and pick stuff up. I have stuff that I haven't ever even listened to, but it's in the collection and I'm ready to listen to it any day now. But I'd say it's reasonable. It's not out of control. It's not small. It's not, I think if people came over and saw it, they wouldn't be like, wow, pathetic, but it's reasonable. It could be better.
Good. Yeah. I'm in a very similar situation to you. I store my records in 2 locations. One is in the cabinet where they're listened to, and that's my collection. And then I've got a whole other section that's just new purchases and stuff that I haven't got around to listening to yet. And when that gets too big, I just have to take time out and go, okay, need a day of listening and just get through those new records. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, next question, Samantha, is about some of your sort of collaborations, and you've shared the stage with some amazing artists. Is there a sort of particular collaboration or a moment that stands out for you?
On stage, playing with somebody else?
Yeah.
I just got off this Hendrix tour, this Experience Hendrix tour, and it was very collaborative. A lot of wonderful guitar players and musicians that are celebrating the legacy of Jimi Hendrix. I got to play a song with Eric Johnson night after night. We did Angel together, and he's just such a superb, incredible guitar player. It was like cool to share the stage with him. I've gotten to perform with Buddy Guy, who is easily, hands down, the best conversationalist there is with the guitar. Just the back and forth, trading fours with him, we've had some really beautiful musical encounters. And I don't know, it's nice. Jesse Dayton was another person who was really special to share the stage with. We made a really great record together, and I learned a lot from performing with Jesse. And I think he definitely pushed me to be a better performer. And anytime you're like learning something or becoming better, growing, that's a great collaboration.
Absolutely.
Oh, wait.
Sorry, go on.
And Slash. That was pretty kick-ass. Sorry to miss that one. Yeah. Or Slash. Yeah.
I was sitting there thinking it's going to mention Slash in a minute. You're going to mention Slash in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go.
No, it's all right. I was like,
it's all right.
You're listening to the Mixtape.
The Mixtape is brought to you in association with Giglist. Giglist is your one-stop shop for all your live events. If you're looking to get out and experience some live music, you can filter by artist, venue, suburb or date. If you are an artist, it will take you less than a minute to list your gig for free on the website. The Mixtape brought to you in association with Giglist. Gigs in a list. Okay, let's drop into the Mixtape portion of the chat then, Samantha. Okay. As I mentioned at the start, my show is called The Mixtape, and I get guests on to get them to make up an imaginary mixtape and pick some songs for it. So if you're making up a mixtape or a playlist, what would be your track one kick-off attention grabber to make me want to listen to the rest of your tape? And I meant to say as well at the start, it's not meant to be your songs, it's like a way of exploring your influences and inspirations.
Got you. Kick Out the Jams by MC5.
Oh, great choice. Yeah.
A great opening number, isn't it?
Yeah, I was unfamiliar with that track, and I saw Jeff Buckley cover it on one of his live shows on DVD. Yeah, phenomenal choice. That's a great. I can't believe no one's ever picked that for track one, because that is an attention grabber, like straight out of the tracks. Great choice. Okay, track two is, what's a song that you sing when you're driving around town in the car, when you're on your own? What do you like to cut loose with in the car or the shower?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let It Loose by the Rolling Stones. I really love the backing vocalist.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
That's an
you know what
unusual
I mean?
take. Nice one. I like
I
that. Yeah.
know. It's because I like to take the backing vocalist parts and follow them at the end. That outro is insane.
Excellent. Great choice. What I always mention at this point of the show is we will be dropping the tracks in between on the radio show. On the
Oh God.
podcast, if you're listening on Spotify, then you will be able to click down in the description and there'll be a link to Samantha's mixtape choices in the form of a Spotify playlist. All right, track 3, Samantha, is what is your favorite cover version?
Oh God. Oh, I might have to come back to this one. Oh no, Aretha Franklin's Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Oh,
That's
great
pretty good.
choice. Great choice. What makes a good cover version for you, Samantha? What's the sign of a good cover?
An artist who you wouldn't expect them to cover that song, because if you hear the original, they're totally different, but really amazing in different ways. I think
Yeah.
just the ability to make it your own, but also respect the original. That's the art of the cover, is like, how can I pay homage to this material that obviously like it's meaningful to me, and that's the reason why I want to play it, but also like, how can I make it my own as an artist?
Yeah. I recently had to do the choices myself for a bonus episode celebrating the 100th episode of the show. And I was talking about cover versions, and word for word said exactly what you just said about making it your own, but respecting the original. It was almost exactly
Yeah.
the same comments. Okay, track 4, Samantha, is what is a song you wish you could play to your 18-year-old self?
Ooh, what could I play to my 18-year-old self? Since I moved to New Orleans, like I learned a lot about the musical heroes here, and I guess I would choose something by Alan Toussaint. I really like Last Train. I think when I was like 18, I probably would have really been like, wow, this is so cool. It's got some great synthesizer parts, but it's a great song. And Alan Toussaint is such a prolific writer. I just wish I would have heard more from him earlier. But I think I'd probably send myself that one.
Sure. What sort of stuff were you listening to as an 18-year-old?
A lot of classic rock. Really, we didn't have a massive record collection. My parents had a lot of CDs, but it seemed I was really into classic rock and what was on the radio. And I was still trying to find myself as a fan of music before I was a musician. And I was getting into guitar. So obviously guitar solo, it's like classic rock was the only radio station really that catered to that. But I've been into heavier stuff. And it was my introduction in a lot of ways to the blues, the really soulful stuff. And yeah, I think I was just getting into blues around that age too.
Okay, cool. And track 5 for your mixtape is if you were making up a mixtape and you wanted to put a track on there to let someone know that you're romantically interested in them, what would be a track you would use for that?
It'd have to be something by Al Green, right? Like the Romeo of all time. I guess it's so hard to choose. He's got the hits, he's got all that. I think one of my favorites, another cover. He covered the Bee Gees, How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? And I know that's not to lose
Nice.
somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm trying to make their heart break for me and trick them. No, but
Yeah.
probably Love and Happiness or something. I know that's kind of cliche, like, because it's such a
Mhm.
popular song, but it is
Mhm.
such a good song. Anything
Yeah.
recorded at Royal Studios is romantic, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Al Green's been picked in that category so many times. I think he's probably the most
Of course.
chosen artist in that particular category. Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
just to round out your mixtape, Samantha, what's a song that you feel is underappreciated, doesn't get the recognition it deserves?
Betty Harris, Nearer to You.
Okay, tell
And
us a little bit about Betty.
Betty is an incredible artist. I believe she was produced by Alan Toussaint. She came to New Orleans. So it's got that feeling and flavor for sure. But she just got such a unique voice that's so full of grit and emotion. And her songs are beautiful. And I learned about her when I was doing the Chills and Fever record. And we actually covered Nearer to You. But I never in a million years could come close to the tearful, like just wholehearted delivery that she has. And she does that on every song. She just really a very special artist and singer, very emotive and emotional.
Fantastic. Great choice, Samantha. Just to round it out very quickly, future plans. I know you've got some tour dates coming up and you're also going to be touring with Kingfish as well. Any plans to come back to Australia on this album tour, or what?
I hope so. I think we're looking at 2016 currently, but I'm not the booking agent. I've got my fingers crossed. I really can't wait to come back, and I don't want to wait too long because I miss you guys.
Yeah. I missed you last time. I think I had a fundraising gig for the station, and I couldn't get to see you and Jesse. You played in Fremantle, I think, and I couldn't get there. But I was devastated. But never mind. Hopefully next year I can catch you then. Samantha, thanks so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate your time. Fantastic new album, Paper Doll, out now on April the 25th. SamanthaFish.com for all the pre-orders, streaming links on all the usual platforms. Thanks so much, Samantha. See you soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Mixtape podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to go to the top of the page and rate it 5 stars, or give us a like or follow on social media at the Mixtape podcast and radio show. Don't forget, there's over 100 archive episodes just waiting to be discovered. And all you need to do is visit themixtapepodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.